If you woke up at the beginning of 2026 and realized your life looks exactly like 2025, would you honestly be happy? Because the start of 2026 isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a reset point. A rare moment where one cycle ends and another one can actually begin. Most people will enter 2026 with new goals, new promises, and the same habits. Same patterns, same excuses, same results. But a small group won't. Not because they're more motivated, but because they stop negotiating. And if you don't make a real shift in the next 18 days, there's a real chance you'll repeat this same cycle again next year. So before this new cycle locks in, let's build the kind of discipline that actually changes your life, starting with the next 18 days. The truth about change. Let's get this out of the way early. Most people don't fail because they lack motivation. They fail because they're waiting for permission to feel ready, confident, inspired. And here's the uncomfortable part. That moment almost never comes. Motivation is a terrible boss. It shows up late, leaves early, and disappears exactly on the days you actually need it. We've been trained to believe that change starts with emotion. That first you feel like doing the thing, then you do the thing. But real life works in reverse. Action comes first. Emotion comes later. Identity comes last. And this is where most people stay stuck, living in what feels safe, familiar, and socially acceptable, while quietly knowing they're capable of more. Not because they're lazy, not because they're broken, but because staying the same is cheaper today than paying the cost of becoming someone new. That's the real trade-off. Comfort now, or freedom later. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. The problem is not you. It's the model. Let me say this clearly. The problem is not that you're incapable. Most people watching this are smart. They read books. They watch videos like this. They understand the concepts. And yet, their life doesn't reflect that intelligence. Why? Because the model they're using is broken. We were taught to improve our lives by adding things. Add more goals. Add more habits. Add more routines. Add more pressure. So we end up with lives that look like an overpacked suitcase. Everything is important. Everything needs attention. Everything drains energy. And when everything matters, nothing really moves. This is how people end up busy but stagnant, occupied but not progressing, doing a lot without going anywhere. The calendar changes, the year changes, the wallpaper motivation quote changes, but the pattern stays the same. Same promises in January, same excuses by March, same quiet frustration by December, not because you didn't want it badly enough, but because the system you were using was never designed for real change. And once you realize that, blame starts to dissolve, which is good, because clarity is the only place discipline can actually grow. What becoming unrecognizable really means. When people hear unrecognizable, they usually think about appearance. A different body, more money, a more impressive life from the outside. That's not what we're talking about here. Real transformation doesn't start in the mirror. It starts in behavior. You become unrecognizable when your actions change before your results do. When you stop negotiating with yourself. When your routines become predictable. When you do the thing even when no one is watching. That's when something subtle shifts. You wake up differently. You respond differently. You move through the day with less internal noise. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because decision-making got simpler. You're no longer asking, should I do this today? You already decided. And that's the part people don't see. They notice the outcome later. The confidence, the consistency, the momentum. But the real change happened quietly, in moments that looked boring, repetitive, and unimpressive. That's what becoming unrecognizable really means. Not becoming someone else, but finally becoming someone reliable. 18 days, the shortest window ever recorded. At some point, someone decided to sell the idea that habits take exactly 21 days. Nice number, easy to remember, completely misleading. When researchers actually started measuring behavior, something interesting showed up. The fastest recorded case of a habit becoming automatic happened in just 18 days. Not average, not common, an exception. And that detail matters more than most people realize. Because when you turn an exception into a promise, you create frustration. People try something for 2 weeks, life pushes back, and they conclude, it doesn't work for me. But 18 days was never the rule. It was simply the shortest window observed under very specific conditions. Still, those 18 days are important, not because they guarantee ease, but because they prove something critical. Change can start faster than you think. Behavior can shift before motivation catches up. Identity can begin forming while effort still feels heavy. 18 days is not the finish line. It's the moment you realize this is possible. And once that door opens, it never fully closes again. How habit research evolved and why that matters. Early habit research tried to give people certainty, clear numbers, clean timelines, simple answers. The intention was good. The outcome, not so much. Because human behavior doesn't work like a stopwatch. As research evolved, scientists stopped asking, how long until a habit is formed? And started asking, when does a behavior become easier to repeat? That shift changed everything. Studies began to show a wide range of timelines. Different people, different habits, different levels of complexity. Some habits locked in quickly, others resisted for months. And that's where the real insight appeared. The problem was never slow progress. The problem was unrealistic expectations. People weren't failing at habits. They were failing at patience. Once you understand this, you stop asking, why is this still hard? And start asking, am I willing to pay this cost a little longer? And that question changes how you play the game. 66 days, when effort starts to decline. As research got more precise, one number kept showing up again and again. Not as a rule, not as a promise, but as an average. 66 days. That's roughly how long it takes for a habit, on average, to start feeling easier to execute. Not effortless, not automatic like breathing, just lighter. This is the point where resistance drops, where you stop arguing with yourself every single time, where execution requires less emotional energy. And here's the mistake most people make. They quit at day 14, or day 21, or right before this moment even has a chance to arrive. They leave the gym right before the body adapts. They abandon the routine right before the mind relaxes. It's not that they couldn't do it. They just left the game 5 minutes before the level up. 66 days is not magic. It's simply the average price of making discipline feel normal. 254 days. Proof that it's not impossible, just expensive. Here's the part most motivational content skips. In long-term habit studies, the longest time recorded for a habit to feel easy was 254 days. Let that sink in. Not because the person was incapable, not because the habit was impossible, but because the behavior was complex, the environment was imperfect, and life kept happening. And that's the real lesson. Some identities are cheap to build. Others are expensive. Becoming someone who drinks more water? Low cost. Becoming someone who trains consistently, runs a business, or shows up disciplined every single day? High cost. But expensive doesn't mean unreachable. It just means you need to stop lying to yourself about the price. Most people don't fail because they can't pay. They fail because no one told them the real number. 254 days isn't a sentence. It's evidence. Evidence that being who you want to be isn't impossible. It's just not discounted. Selective discipline, playing the adult game. Here's where most people sabotage themselves. They don't lack discipline. They lack selective discipline. They try to fix everything at once. Career, body, money, relationships, mindset, routine, all at the same time. That's not ambition. That's delusion. Selective discipline means choosing one priority and having the courage to disappoint everything else for a while. This idea is deeply aligned with what's taught in A Unica Coisa. When one thing truly matters, everything else becomes noise. Not forever, just for now. This is where discipline stops being about force and starts being about strategy. You don't need more willpower. You need fewer decisions, fewer battles, fewer fronts, fewer promises. When you concentrate energy instead of spreading it thin, progress accelerates without drama. Selective discipline is not doing less because you're lazy. It's doing less because you're serious. And once you experience what focus actually feels like, going back to chaos becomes very uncomfortable. The one thing that moves everything else. Most people think progress comes from doing more. More habits, more effort, more pressure. In reality, progress comes from doing the right thing first. This is the core idea behind the question from the one thing. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? That question is uncomfortable because it removes excuses. It forces trade-offs. It demands clarity. When you choose your one thing, something interesting happens. Your calendar simplifies. Your energy stabilizes. Your decisions speed up. You stop trying to win every game at once and start winning one game decisively. This is why selective discipline works. Not because you're doing less effort, but because every ounce of effort is finally pointed in the same direction. One thing, done daily, without negotiation. That's not minimalism. That's leverage. Clarity, the first pillar of discipline. Discipline doesn't start with effort. It starts with clarity. If you're not clear, every action feels heavier than it should. Unclear goals create friction. Friction creates resistance. Resistance drains discipline. This is why people say, I know what I should do, but I don't do it. They're not lazy. They're undecided. Clarity means answering questions most people avoid. What am I actually building right now? What does winning look like in this season? What am I saying no to on purpose? When clarity is present, discipline feels cleaner. You don't need hype. You don't need speeches. You just execute. And when clarity is missing, even small tasks feel like climbing a hill with a backpack full of rocks. Discipline doesn't fix confusion. Clarity does. Environment, where discipline actually begins. Most people think discipline lives in the mind. It doesn't. Discipline lives in the environment. Your surroundings are voting on your behavior long before your motivation even wakes up. If your phone is the first thing you see, your attention is already rented out. If junk food is within reach, willpower is already on trial. This is why relying on being strong is a losing strategy. Strong people design smart environments. Weak systems force heroic effort. Small adjustments change everything. Where things are placed, what's easy, what's hard, what's visible, what's hidden. Discipline isn't about fighting temptation all day. It's about not having to fight it at all. When the environment is aligned, execution feels quieter, cleaner, almost boring. And that's a good sign. Repetition without emotion. This is where discipline becomes real. Not when you feel inspired, not when you feel confident, but when you feel nothing. Repetition without emotion means you stop asking, do I feel like doing this today? And start asking, is this part of who I'm becoming? Mood is unstable. Energy fluctuates. Life interferes. So if execution depends on emotion, execution becomes optional. This is why boredom is not the enemy. Boredom is a signal that the habit is settling in. Think about brushing your teeth. There's no motivation involved, no inner debate, no drama. You just do it. The goal is not to feel amazing doing the habit. The goal is to make the habit so normal that skipping it feels strange. Emotion fades, structure stays, and that's how consistency is built without burning yourself out. The real cost of transformation. This is the part that separates curiosity from commitment. Every transformation has a cost. Not money, at least not at first. The real cost is discomfort. You'll have to say no to invitations, to distractions, to versions of yourself that feel familiar but small. Some days, the cost looks like waking up earlier. Other days, it looks like going to bed while everyone else is still scrolling, laughing, relaxing. And here's the tricky part. No one applauds this stage. There are no likes for consistency, no praise for showing up on a random Tuesday, no validation for keeping a promise no one else knows about. That's why most people quit here. Not because it's hard, but because it's quiet. The cost is paid in silence, long before the reward shows up in public. And if you're not willing to pay this cost, you don't stay the same by accident. You stay the same by default. Backstage stories. What real change actually looks like. Real change rarely looks cinematic in the beginning. It looks like someone waking up early and sitting in silence, unsure if any of this will pay off. It looks like going to the gym without posting a story, without progress photos, without anyone noticing. It looks like studying after a long day while friends are out living what looks like a better life, for now. I've seen people change their entire trajectory not by doing something extreme, but by doing something boringly consistent. One person started with 20 minutes a day, no big plan, no reinvention speech, just a quiet agreement with themselves. Another removed one habit instead of adding 5. Less scrolling, less noise, more space to think. Nothing impressive happened in the first weeks, but something subtle did. They stopped negotiating. They stopped restarting. They stopped explaining themselves. From the outside, it looked like nothing was happening. From the inside, everything was changing. That's how real progress moves. Slow enough to be invisible, strong enough to be permanent. Commitment is identity. At some point, discipline stops being about effort and becomes about identity. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start saying, "This is who I am now." That shift is subtle but powerful. Commitment is not intensity. It's coherence. It's when your actions stop contradicting the person you say you want to become. Trying is optional. Deciding is not. The moment you decide, you remove the escape routes. No backup plan. No constant renegotiation. You don't need to feel ready. You need to feel responsible. Because once your word to yourself starts to mean something, discipline no longer feels heavy. It feels aligned. And alignment is what gives you the kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud. The evolution cycle: perception, decision, action. Most people believe change starts with action. It doesn't. Action is the last step, not the first. Real change starts with perception. And perception is not motivation. It's not emotion. It's clarity. Perception is the moment you stop romanticizing your situation and start seeing it exactly as it is. Not better, not worse, just real. It's when you realize things like, "I'm not tired because life is hard. I'm tired because my days are unstructured." Or, "I don't lack time. I lack priority." That moment is uncomfortable because perception removes excuses without attacking you. I've seen people stay stuck for years not because they didn't want change, but because they never truly looked at where they were. They jumped straight to action. New routines, new plans, new promises. But without perception, action becomes noise. Then comes the second phase, decision. And this is where almost everyone hesitates. Decision is not saying, "I'll try." It's not saying, "Let's see how it goes." Decision is a cut. It's when you choose one path and intentionally abandon others, even good ones. This is where selective discipline shows up again. I've watched people say they wanted progress while keeping every door open, every option alive, every escape route available. That's not decision. That's hesitation disguised as flexibility. A real decision sounds more like, "For the next season, this is the priority. Everything else can wait." It's uncomfortable because it forces loss. And loss always comes before focus. Only after perception and decision does action finally work. Action without perception is chaotic. You move, but don't advance. Action without decision is inconsistent. You start, stop, restart, explain. But action after a real decision? That's when things lock in. Because now, action is no longer fueled by emotion. It's fueled by identity. You're not asking, "Should I do this today?" You're acting from, "This is what someone like me does." And here's the part most people miss. This cycle doesn't happen once. It repeats every time you evolve. New level, new perception. New clarity, new decision. New identity, new actions. Skip perception, and you stay blind. Skip decision, and you stay scattered. Skip action, and nothing changes. But when all three align, progress stops feeling forced. It becomes inevitable. Wanting ease before consistency, the silent trap. Here's a mistake almost everyone makes. They want things to feel easy before they feel consistent. They wait for confidence. They wait for clarity to feel comfortable. They wait for the habit to fit naturally into their life. But that's backwards. Ease is not the entry point. Ease is the reward. Consistency comes first. Think about learning to drive. At the beginning, everything feels heavy. Pedals, mirrors, traffic, timing. Your brain is exhausted after 20 minutes. No one says, "Driving isn't for me," after the first lesson. They understand something instinctively. This feels hard because it's new. But for some reason, with personal growth, people expect fluency on day one. If it's uncomfortable, they assume it's wrong. If it's tiring, they assume it's unsustainable. That belief kills more progress than lack of discipline ever could. Consistency is the phase where things feel clumsy, repetitive, unrewarding. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're exactly where you should be. Ease comes later, after repetition, after boredom, after showing up when it's not fun anymore. You don't earn ease by wishing for it. You earn it by surviving the awkward phase without quitting. And once ease arrives, most people don't even notice. They just wake up one day and realize, "I didn't have to fight myself today." That's the payoff. The first signs that you're actually changing. Most people expect change to announce itself loudly. A big result, a dramatic breakthrough, a moment where everything suddenly makes sense. That's not how it happens. Real change shows up quietly. One of the first signs is this: you negotiate less. You don't spend 20 minutes arguing with yourself about whether you should do the thing. You just do it. Another sign is predictability. Not excitement, not intensity, predictability. You start acting the same way regardless of mood, weather, or motivation. That's rare and powerful. There's also a shift in how you experience resistance. Resistance doesn't disappear, but it loses authority. It becomes background noise instead of a command. You notice things like, I didn't feel like it, and I did it anyway. I almost skipped, and didn't. These moments feel small, almost unworthy of celebration. But they are votes. Votes for a new identity. No one else sees them. No one claps. No one comments. But you notice. And once you notice, self-respect starts to grow. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind that changes how you carry yourself. That's when you know. This isn't a phase anymore. It's becoming who you are. Two versions of you, the final mirror. At this point, there's no mystery left. From here forward, there are only two versions of you. Not good versus bad. Not successful versus failed. Just honest outcomes. One version keeps negotiating, keeps restarting, keeps waiting for the right mood, the right time, the right setup. This version is always about to begin, always gathering information, always convinced that soon things will click, and life keeps moving anyway. The other version pays the cost. Not dramatically, not loudly, just consistently. This version doesn't feel special, doesn't feel inspired every day, but shows up even when nothing is exciting. 1 year from now, the difference between these two versions won't be talent. It won't be luck. It won't be opportunity. It will be posture. Same world, same tools, same potential, different standards. And the uncomfortable truth is this. You don't drift into the better version. You choose it again and again, especially on the days when the choice feels pointless. That's the mirror, and it doesn't judge you. It just reflects your patterns back to you. The 18-day entry point, not the finish line. Let's be very clear about this. 18 days is not the transformation. It's the entry point. It's the moment where resistance proves it can be survived. For the next 18 days, the goal is not to feel confident. It's not to feel motivated. It's not to optimize anything. The goal is to show up. One priority, one standard, no negotiation. Those 18 days are where you break the old pattern, starting strong, slowing down, quitting quietly. If you can hold the line for 18 days, something important happens. You stop asking, can I do this? And start realizing, I'm already doing this. From there, the real game begins. Because the average is still around 66 days for a habit to feel easier. And for some identities, the price might be higher. 100 days, 200 days, even more. That doesn't make the goal unrealistic. It makes it honest. Becoming who you want to be is not impossible. It just requires paying the real cost, in advance, without guarantees, without applause. 18 days opens the door. 66 days builds momentum. Long-term consistency builds identity. And identity, that's what makes everything else easier. This is not about discipline. It's about direction. If you've stayed until here, it already says something about you. Most people don't quit because things are hard. They quit because they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Discipline without direction feels like punishment. Discipline with direction feels like progress, even on bad days. This was never about becoming a productivity machine or turning into someone cold, robotic, or extreme. It's about getting out of autopilot, about stopping the cycle of restarting your life every few months, about finally trusting your own word. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to become someone else. You need one clear direction, one priority worth paying the cost for, and the courage to stay longer than your emotions want to. So here's the real question I'll leave you with. What is the version of you that exists on the other side of 18 days of real consistency? And more importantly, what has it already cost you not to become that person? If this video helped you see things more clearly, stay with us. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Here, we don't sell motivation. We build direction, discipline, and identity, step by step, towards the dream life. I'll see you in the next video.